Kiyan is in the studio. Good morning, Kiyan. How you doing?
Good morning, Mr. Walsh. Appreciate you having me. Thanks for the good energy.
Yeah.
Peace and love. Shout
For
out to
sure.
everybody watching, everybody tuned in. Much love and appreciation.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to get you to do one thing and see the way my mic is positioned with I'm kind of speaking into the top there, into the top on an angle.
Yes, sir.
Hey, see there,
Hey.
you're a lot more present now. See, there's your
Boom shakalaka.
your booming voice. It's ready to rock. So yeah, Kiyan, for people who aren't familiar with you, which I don't know how many people wouldn't at least be aware of you and what you've been up to this last couple of years with your brand World Peace, give us a little background of who you are and maybe your transformation and why you do what you do these days.
My name's Kiyan Lautenschlager. I go by World Peace because that's what we need. I've been making music solo, also in different First Nation communities and public schools with the youth. My musical and peace and joy and happiness journey started in 2015 when I read the books The Power of Now and A New Earth that taught me to live in the present moment, be aware of my thoughts, emotions, lock into my inner peace and happiness, and spread love and joy in the world. So I use music as a tool to cultivate positive thoughts and spread a positive message. And over the past 9 years, I've toured Canada multiple times. Like I said, I've been making music in First Nation communities as well as public schools, and just spreading joy, happiness, and cheer. I have my clothing line, which is a physical representation of world peace. Mm-hmm. I go around delivering my gear, singing songs for people as well when I'm not booked for anything. And life's amazing. I'm super grateful to be here. I have songs like I'm So Happy, I Love Myself, Every Day's a World Peace Day that I've made that are very powerful anthems to motivate your subconscious to be grateful, to be happy, to love everybody and love life. Also songs like Nature's Beautiful, With My Res Homies, Native History, and many, many more. I've made about 80, 90 songs in different First Nation communities, plus the songs in the public schools. We made Don't Bully, Don't Do Drugs, Home is Love, and obviously more of those. So just working every single day. And I'm in the process right now of making the Big Grassy River First Nation album. We made 30 songs and 7 music videos. So that's like I'd say 98% done right now. That's the main project I'm working on. It'll be out, early next month. There's the Every Child Matters music video, mental health music. And there is Overworked and Tired Creatures. That was one of the teachers. She made a song about just how teachers really work really hard and they really care about the youth. And there's a few more videos. And like I said, there's 30 songs total. That's going to be coming out soon. And yeah, that's
cool.
Pretty much it. Spreading joy and happiness through music.
That's awesome. Well, you said it all in a short period of time. You put a lot into that. I want to go back to your beginning. You talked about this book that you read. So tell me what the state of your, why did it impact your life so much? Who introduced you to the book, and why they thought this book would be something that you might have needed at the time, kind of thing?
Well, I grew up in Sudbury. I lived here my entire life. I went to Sudbury Secondary. I graduated high school. I actually stayed an extra year just to play basketball because I really like basketball, and then proceeded to just go into the workforce and pay my dues to society. Mm-hmm. And one day I actually did a challenge, no screens after 6 p.m. for a month. And after
and why did you do this challenge? Did you just hear it from somewhere?
I just seen it on the internet. Okay. It was something good. It was actually a major catalyst because instead of going on my phone in the evening, this was before cell phones took over the world and we're thumbing all day, glued to the screens. This was when you didn't have unlimited data. Like I have 150 gigs of data, and if you know what I mean, it's so much. But back then it wasn't like that. So it was I would say easier than now to just not use my phone. And one day I was bored. I wanted to read, so I asked my dad, "Hey, I need a book to read. What you got for me?" And he handed me The Power of Now. And I'll be honest, I only read 40 pages the first time. I've since read the book multiple times, but it just kept repeating: live in the present moment, be aware of your thoughts, think positive. And I just, was like, that's pretty simple. What do I need to read this book? Because I never read books. So I just didn't read the book and went and lived in the present moment. I always wanted to be a rapper, so I started making music. And I realized right then and there, that's what I have to do, because I just realized, the power of music and the power of positive music can really influence the subconscious and train our minds to be positive, grateful, and just, filled with bubbly, happy energy all the time, so we can have positive thoughts and positive mental health. So I just started, giving her every single day, and I'm never going to take a day off, never going to stop,
That's awesome. And so let us know. So you started embracing this, I guess, philosophy in your life. And what did that do to you? So how did it go from reading that book to, the whole world peace idea? Like, honestly, is there a bridge there?
It was real simple. I started living in the present moment, and my buddy Justin was having a pool party. At the time, I worked at Costco. I was pushing buggies at Costco, and my buddy who worked at Costco, he had a pool party, right? So I'm at this party, Next thing you know, these kids are rapping, and I'm in the present moment. So I'm enjoying it on the rap circle. And my first rhyme was like something about I got the best flow, and I'm chilling with Joe or something. Yeah. I don't remember, but I know I got it the first time. Like obviously, pro from the hop, but I had some sort of flow, so to speak, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And then I started rapping with my buddy Justin more, and I was like, I'm gonna be a rapper. Like, I'm talking like within a couple days, I was like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Like, because at the end of the day, right, you can do anything in this world if you just put your mind to it and work hard, especially if you put your mind to it and work hard. Like, that's the key, right? If you're not focused, if you're not putting in the hours every single day, like they say 10,000 hours, right? Like, if you're not doing that, it's not going to happen. Like, people always want the magic, you know what I mean? But hard work is the magic, you know what I mean? Learning and connecting with people and just doing it all with the foundation of love that's the magic. So,
but I'm sure you had your share of pushback. If someone comes up to you and says, I want to be a rapper, you know what I mean? I'm sure you aren't the first person who said that before. I'm sure the people in your life, close people to you, are like, "Are you sure you want to be a rapper? Is that like you sure?" You're gonna
honestly,
make
not
money
really.
at this,
I'll be honest with you.
Really?
It wasn't much. You know what I mean?
Oh wow!
My daddy worked out in California in the recording studios in his younger years, and there wasn't much pushback. You know what I'll be honest with you. Like, it was just like that's what I was gonna do. It was at first it was more so like get a job and do it on the side and da. But I'm a dedicated individual, so I just made it happen. And yeah, it was a cool experience. But what I realized though from the hop was there's no college course offered by Drake teaching you how to be a big time rapper. So I started picking up different books, and that's when my literary journey began, because I knew I had to fill my mind with knowledge so that I could go out in the world and thrive and succeed. And right away, a book taught me about thinking positive and appreciation, and I started just flooding all my lyrics with positivity because of living in the present moment, being aware of my thoughts, and then being aware that I can control my thoughts through positive thinking. So I just only wrote positive lyrics to program my mind to think positive. And it was literally, that's how it started. And that's the basic format. Like, I don't know if you've listened to trap music, Mr. Walsh, but
you know what? It's not something that I have on my list of, if I had Spotify or songs that I go to, but I am aware of the genre. Yes, for sure.
So the genre to me is make a little melody, throw some drums on it. And then, these rappers talk about, whatever they talk about. Me, on the other hand, I do the same format, but I talk about just only positive, right? It's got to be something positive. So that's how I go about making the music with the youth also, is come up with a positive idea. Once you got the idea, all right, now everybody just think of some ideas around that, right? And I'll go around and I'll help them piece it all together. And the premise is to cultivate positive ideas, speak them out loud, manifest positivity into existence.
Now, at first, I remember speaking with your dad, and you were very, very gung ho. And again, you're not following a plan, like you said. It's not like you're going to school and you're following some game plan. You are building your game plan as you go. Like
exactly.
You're doing it. You're making this. You're a pioneer in this. So I remember something along the lines of, you had business cards, let's say, or cards, and you basically just put world peace on the cards, and you were out there handing them out to everybody before you had any merch. And you got one right there. I
even got stickers. I just got this. You heard it here first. I just got a new order of 100,000 world peace stickers. They just came in. But I started off with the. Sorry, I started off with little blank cards that said world peace on it.
I remember.
That was, how do I explain this now? So the first book was the Power of Now. That sparked the journey. And then that was in about May. That was 2015. So it was 9 years ago, like next month. Yeah. And it might've been the end of April. And then I started No Screens in the month of May, something like that. But it was 9 years ago. And then I went, making music, posting videos. Cause I'm a dedicated person. Like when I was a kid, if we got Legos, I was doing it all that day. My brother didn't even have a chance to do it. I was doing them all, you know what I mean? Before I went to bed,
Yeah.
This is a bit of an outrageous example, but when it was Halloween, I would make sure to eat all my candy before I went to bed.
Oh man.
I'm just kidding. But
I was going to say, be bouncing off the walls, you wouldn't be able to sleep.
I was always bouncing off the wall.
Yeah. You do. You have a very, you have a lot of energy. There's no doubt about it. You always have ever since I've known you. And I remember, you just took that energy and you're going with it. I think you had a credit card or something and you put all these cards
No. You ready for this?
Go ahead.
So I started making music, posting videos. Honestly, I started with the videos because I just know one of the books I read was called The Slight Edge that talks about how the small actions will compound over time.
Yeah.
So pick, good, positive, small habits to do every single day. So simple things like working out, doing a couple push-ups, some simple things like reading every day. That's how I started reading. I've been reading every day for 9 years now after never reading in my entire life. You know what I mean? So one of the things was the small things. So I'll just post a video on social media every single day of me rapping, right? So I just went on my laptop, hit record, and I would do raps. My first videos are still on YouTube. My brother's sleeping behind me. He's literally in his bed. It's like 2 a.m, you know what I mean? Like I'm doing my little rap, and that's how I started. And I kept going. And then one day I had a buddy say, hey, you should get a microphone. It looks more professional. He's like, it's not even about it working. But I've been working since I was a kid, right? Like I had a paper route, shoveled snow, raked leaves, do whatever. You know what I mean? When I was a kid, I was always working, so I had some money. So I was like, "You're right." I went to Long and McQuaid's, and I went in. I'm like, "Give me your most expensive mic." I didn't know, right? It was $600, right? It was a lot of money, but it wasn't like outrageous. It wasn't 6,000, right? So I got that mic. You had to get an audio interface, so I bought that and I set it up and I started, recording songs on Tupac beats, but all positive. And I just progressed, kept going. And then one day I actually met a gentleman because I was working background in the film industry at the time. And I met a gentleman named Phil Morris. You probably know Phil Morris. I do. He's a legend.
Yeah.
He's a piano man,
Yeah, he's the piano man.
So
piano man.
I was introduced to Phil and with the premise of like, hey, this guy makes music here, check him out, do. So I reached out to him and he said, hey, come out to my church. I'm like, sure, whatever. So I went to All Nations Church for the first time. I met Jeremy, the pastor, rest in peace. And he was a solid dude. I was chatting with him and how do I explain this? He did during the sermon, he asked everybody, who's not stressing out here? And I was like, hands up. I'm like, hands up, yeah. You know what I mean? So
yeah, because you weren't, because you're living in the present moment.
He called me out. He's like, Kiyan, you're a liar. I'm like, hey, whatever, man. I ain't stressing about it,
That's right.
So it was just funny because that was the first time I ever went to church, and it made me just realize, the power of God, the power of Jesus, and all that wonderful stuff. Because when I was a youth, I never went to church. So that was like my first ever time going to church about, let's say 10 days before Christmas in 2015. Then the following weekend, he was like, hey, come out to this other church. I'll have you, do a little performance. My first ever performance was in a church 2 days before Christmas. You know what I mean? Like
right
first ever performance, right? So fast forward to, a couple weeks later, I'm now reading The Power of Now. And that's also by Eckhart Tolle. And that one goes... No, sorry, A New Earth, pardon me. A New Earth goes into depth about clearing your mind. And honestly, that was the most powerful thing from that whole book is learning how to meditate and clear your mind and lock into keeping your mind clear and not having that fog of thoughts constantly fogging up your life and stressing you out and consuming you, right? To be able to have a clear mind is a very powerful position to be in. Therefore, I started just, once I learned to clear my mind for 5 seconds, I turned it to 10, 15, 20, and then I just made it habitual through simple acts of taking deep breaths, being aware of my breath. You know what I mean? What were you going to say?
No, yeah. I teach a class called Overcoming Obstacles, and there's a stat in there that says, well, first of all, how many thoughts do you think the average individual has on a daily basis? If you were to
all day long. Most people don't ever stop thinking. I talk to a lot of people, they never stop thinking. 73,000 individual thoughts in one day when you're conscious. No, that's not including dreaming. So 73 thoughts. And out of that, how many thoughts do you think of those are negative on average? Probably lots.
75%.
Probably.
Are negative.
That's exactly why I started programming my mind with the music. But then what happens when I first learned to clear my mind, I remember my cousin Robert. Shout out to my cousin ROWV. He was making music with me too back in the day. And
cool.
he was an artist. He still is an artist. He worked in the animation industry for a lot of years. He now he teaches at the university in Ottawa. But he was telling me, hey, you should, have a business card. It's a bit more professional. And I was like, huh, you're right. So I went down to Staples, and at the time, I have a friend named Harold Mumford, who's probably 60 years old now. He was my buddy's uncle back in the day. And we used to, always be at his house partying it up, having fun in our teen years. And I was 17 and my buddies were 19, 20. And I remember him telling all of us one evening this is some financial advice right here from an ex-banker, right? So tune in, pay attention, y'all. This is to help you out. We were talking about the prices of everything being expensive and everything. This is a little tidbit that I got when I was 17 years old. And what he said was, set up a mutual fund that automatically set up a mutual fund in a tax-free savings account that automatically takes $100 every week and invests it for you automatically, and it'll compound over time, and it'll give you a nice I don't know what the word is,
a return or whatever.
A nice return, but like a nest egg or whatever, something like that. So
build your future.
So the second I turned 18, I called up my buddy Harold, and I'm like, hey man, how do you do this? Do because I'm a smart guy, So I set it up. So I had some money at the time, right? So what I did was I sold all my stocks and everything, and I went and, you know what I mean? Because after a year of me doing that, I was like, I thought it was better. So I sold that and I bought into stocks. I bought Kiyan stock or something like that. You know what I mean? Some blue chip stock. And how I got into that was I just went around to every financial firm and I walked in there with a tie on and I was like, hey, I'm looking to get into the stocks. Can you put me on to some game pretty much? And one lady said, stocks like Bell or CN. And I was like, all right, bet. I went home and invested in them. But fast forward, I called the bank, I sell all my stocks, transfer the money to my account. So I had the money in my account and I just pretty much spent it all on World Peace cards and just handed them out to everybody. You know what I mean? And it was just like, there was no thought to it. It was just, I cleared my mind and I was like, that makes sense. Spread the word of World Peace. And there was no name number. Like my new cards now have name number, QR code. It was just like handing those out. So then I gave those out, and by October, that was like, a good 10 months or 8 months, 8, 9, 10 months or so. Yeah. I handed out 65,000 of those cards. For sure. And that's why everyone calls me World Peace, because, my name's Kiyan, right? I used to go by Kiyan Pepper, but everyone started calling me World Peace because, it's World Peace, the World Peace guy, right? So I'm just super grateful that God is using me as a conduit to spread peace and love. You know what I mean? I'm grateful.
I remember your dad not being too impressed with the idea that you're just handing out cards without any kind of, well, how are they going to know how to get in touch with you? And what's the card worth if they can't, lead them to get something? And how are you paying for these cards? Like, how are you going to make money doing this stuff? You know what I mean? And so, because we were fellow business consultants at a business consultancy firm at the time, and so obviously he thinks business. He has a business mind too, right? So he ran a business for many years, and so he's worried about you, saying, "Well, this is all great. World peace is great. You got a great message, probably one of the best messages going, but how do you make money doing this kind of thing?" Right? Do you remember him?
I remember the thing with my dad about that was it was funny because check this out, right? This is like looking back in hindsight.
Yeah.
When you're 19 years old, what do they tell you to do? Go to college for 4 years. That's right. Run up a bunch of student debt.
Get a job.
But the college, right? Yeah. The student debt, right? So that's 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, right? Yeah. You don't have a job. You're at the school, you know what I mean? Running up debt, you know what I mean? So I'm aware that, there's a process to everything and you have to work at it. I've never made music in my life. So when I started, I had to figure out how to make music, right? I had to work on the music side of it as well. And I'm just, I believe in myself. So I just knew, I had to do it and it was going to happen for sure. Honestly, what was a wild thing was just since I learned to live in the present moment, I've noticed that there's waves in life. Before that, I wasn't quite aware. And now I've noticed that first year I learned, to live in the present moment. The next year I learned about clearing my mind. The first year was live in the present moment, make music. Then it was clear my mind, right? And then, making music. And then after that, what happened is my uncle, honestly, rest in peace to my Uncle Bob and my dad, both of them passed away in the last couple of years. But my uncle, he had a heart attack in 2016. And I remember visiting him at the hospital when he was like, he was all good, you know, from that. And he's like, hey, because he runs a campground up on Manitoulin Island, Fred's Camp. Shout out to Fred's Camp. If you guys need to go camping, go to Fred's Camp.
Great place. We went there for a couple summers ago, and it was awesome.
Top notch. His daughter's running it right now, but he needed help, you know, shutting down the camp for the winter season. So I went up there and helped him shut it all down. And then the next 2 years I was up there with him running the camp. Well, he was running the camp. I was helping him, you know, with all the maintenance and everything, welding, carpentry, plumbing, whatever you need, doing roofs, you know, like you can do it all, you know, like sure, I'm just a rapper, but I know a thing or two, you know what I mean? So I was working up there with my uncle for a couple of years, and it was a blessing because I got to, you know, learn things as well as make music. And I just, you know, I lived on Manitoulin Island. If you've never been there, go there. Like this is the craziest thing. In 2018, when I returned from Manitoulin Island in the fall, that's when I had to start dealing with the financial world. Because when I lived in Manitoulin Island, I had no income, no expenses. I just worked for my uncle, ate my grandma's cooking. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I didn't even want no money or nothing. At the end of the year, he'd try and give me a bit of money, and I was like, no, I don't even want it. But he just kept it aside, and he insisted I take it, and he said, this is a tool, right? Yeah. So I was like, whatever. I was like, all right, I'll take it. Because I left it there, and then he brought it to me. You know what I mean?
Cool.
And it was like $900 or something like that, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
But what I'm trying to get at, though, is when I returned, I had to then start dealing with the financial world. So that's when I started my World Peace Hoodies. That's when I set up my first show at the Fromagerie. Shout out to Valerie Fremlin down there for letting me run my first ever show there. I called it The Keys to Happiness and Inner Peace. There was no like beats. It was just me and my drum. I had a buddy named Chris, and I had a buddy, you know, Dave Chevrier. He was at my first show on the drum kit. He showed up with you know, Dave K. If you know, this is a side note. If you know Dave, if anybody's listening, you know Dave. That man's in the bush raising animals. He showed up. I was like, Dave, you have to wear a suit though and shave. He shaved and wore a suit and tie. I swear to God, there's one video I could find on the internet where he's on the drum kit, suit and tie. You don't believe me, but it happened. That was my first ever show, right? And what I did was the month and a half leading up to, I was downtown Sudbury, suit and tie, selling the tickets, So when the day the show came, because I told Valerie, like, I'm going to fill up your venue for sure, and I filled up her venue. You know what I mean? I can't go back on those promises. So that was like the first show, and then one day I went to a hip hop show, met a gentleman named Mr. Jones who was on tour. I convinced him to bring me on tour with him, so I just left on tour randomly for 3 months. And I remember that. Yeah, after going to all the cities in Canada, doing shows everywhere, seeing everywhere far and wide, I realized Manitoulin is like the nicest place ever. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I just realized I was living in the nicest place in Canada. And like, I've been everywhere in Canada, not everywhere obviously, but I've been coast to coast. I've washed my face in both oceans. I've done shows in probably 35, 40 different cities around Canada. And I'm telling you, Manitoulin Island is the spot. It's the place to be. Fred's Camp is just like, it's such a beautiful place.
You're so supposed to keep it a secret though, Kiyan. You're not supposed to let the secret
I'll be honest with you. When my uncle was running Fred's Camp, he didn't want it too busy, right?
Exactly.
But my cousins are running it differently. They're younger, you know, they want, you know, people to come and see it, you know what I mean? So that's why I got to shout them out. But yeah, no, that was a cool experience going around. But yeah, no, it was, I'm just grateful for everything and being able to be here right now, and just, you know, the process of life moving forward and constantly learning, improving, evolving, and doing it with, like I said, with love as the foundation it's a blessing.
Now you have a few people on here, just giving a shout out, for yourself. Brian says, shout out to World Peace here. Liette says, I first saw the World Peace movement on social media. I was so impressed with the positive message, and I shared it. And let's see here. Got a few other people. The world needs more people just like this man. Exclamation point, positive energy, positive vibes, positive thoughts, positive attitude. For sure. That's from Dennis. Jerome says, God bless you, brother. Your energy is so needed. And then Evelyn also, good morning. Dave is a great friend of mine. I also bought your World Peace hoodie at James Top in Sudbury. So there you go there. And Manitoulin Island is beautiful, God's country. That is Liette. So just a few of the comments that were coming in. I didn't want to interrupt your flow and what you're saying. Also,
I talk a lot just like my dad, eh?
Well, I don't know. You again, yeah, like you can definitely tell who your dad is too. Your dad was very unique in his voice, and he was very, he was able to project his voice like no one else. Interesting story of your dad and I going to the Kiss concert here in Sudbury. And Kiss is known as one of the loudest rock bands there ever was, and they like that. So your dad and I were sitting near the soundboard on the floor. And Gene Simmons' wife was there and daughter, which you were in one of her videos as well. Gene Simmons' daughter, remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. That was the first ever time I was ever in background acting, and she's like touching my shoulder. I've had a crush on her since I was a kid.
And so I can't find that video. Anyways, you're gonna have to show me a link because I'd like to share it with everybody. It's a great video. Anyway, so they were there at the concert, and so your dad and I were near the soundboard. Kiss comes on, and they're loud and as loud as can be. And your dad wanted to share a story about how he ran into Gene Simmons in the studio when he was in Los Angeles. And so he's telling me this, and with your dad's voice, he could just tell me a story while Kiss is playing. And you can hear him loud as day. So he's just telling me the story while Kiss is playing. Like anyone who's been to a rock concert knows you have to yell and scream and you can't really make out what someone's telling you while the band's playing. But your dad, there's no problem. He's telling me this story and literally, Kiyan, I'm not kidding you. Someone 4 rows up. It was almost like we were in church. It's almost
really?
Yeah, it was almost like we were in church. And you're talking, and they're like, "Hey, shh," kind of thing.
No way.
Someone turned around and looked back. Who's talking? I'm trying to listen to Kiss. And you would know more than anybody that that's true. No one else would believe that.
No, I know for a fact that's true.
But
when I was a
voice,
kid, when it was dinner time, my dad would call our name, and we'd be a block, 2 blocks away. You hear him loud as day. You run home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he could probably hear him halfway across the city if he was yelling for you to come in. No doubt. Oh
man, that's amazing.
It was funny when he worked with we worked together, and we'd always have to put him in the furthest office on the other side of the office, like floor space in the last corner, and still people, okay, who's going to go down and tell Pete to kind of keep it down? Okay, I'll go.
His office at our house was right beside my bedroom, so it'd be 8 a.m.
Man, I think he could have had the loudest voice out of any.
Should have went to Guinness.
Oh, for sure.
That record book.
He would have. There's no doubt about it. It's just something about the boom, the projection of his voice. Anyway, so you're able to carry that on now with music and sing and carry that on and carry your family legacy on and kind of thing. So you mentioned that you're going to, how did this begin where you're going to First Nation and you have this program where you're kind of helping them out with, getting them involved with writing and recording, and you're making music with them? Like, this sounds pretty interesting.
It is very interesting. So what happened was in 2019, 20, and 21, I toured Canada doing like hip hop shows in different bars and whatnot. And my music's all world peace, and everyone else, for the most part, isn't world peace. You know what I mean? It's hip hop, right? So what happened was 2 of those years were during COVID. So we're tiptoeing around all the COVID rules and whatnot. And then it just ramped up way too much. I got over it. So I just canceled the tour, and I realized that I should deliver my gear, because I was already delivering my gear. But I was going to sing a song. So I made it like a staple. Like, I'll sing a song. I have my djembe. I'll sing you a song. That's how I'll do that. That'll be my service. Right. And then I proceed to get a big boom box. And then I started tailor making my songs so that I could perform them instead of just making music. Like, that's the thing with music is a lot of people make music, for the art, for the creativity. For me, it's about the message. Right. So I need the message to get to you. So I have this boombox. If I press play, you got to be able to get the message. So the beat's got to be good. It's got to be able to, so I can play it for an 80-year-old and they're jamming with me and we're singing some positive, happy song, right? So that's how that started. And then I started going, traveling around. So I'm in Sudbury. So traveling up to, Sault Ste. Marie, travel up to Timmins, North Bay, Parry Sound, like just the small radius around. But when I went to Timmins, people were super pumped. So I spent more time going up to Timmins. And then from Timmins, Cochrane, Iroquois Falls, Kapuskasing, Hearst, all those little towns. And when I started going up there, there's different First Nation communities up there that maybe never seen me before, because I've been to Manitoulin a bunch, and I've been to, pretty much Manitoulin. There's a few reserves south of Sudbury that I've been to, just stopping by. So I know people in all these areas. I've sang songs, done, like I've been, been booked to do a show here, whatever, perform for people. But when I went up north, now like these communities are a bit more isolated, right? So they reached out to me, wanted me to do something, and one of the communities, they wanted me to perform, but they wanted me to stay there for 3 hours. I'm like, I'm not performing for 3 hours. Like, you're out of your mind, like, like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't even have all the songs I have now, right? I didn't even have I'm So Happy, I Love. I did have I'm So Happy and I Love Myself. Actually, I didn't even have I Love Myself. I just have I'm So Happy, Every Day's a World Peace Day. I had maybe like 3 songs that I really know are like some good positive dancing songs. Everyone's gonna vibe to them for sure. The next ones were more like art based, right? Like lyric based, So I was
any performer to do a show, like half an hour is a long time when you're given it. You know what I mean? Like 3 hours. That's what I mean.
Wow. It's excessive. For me, I'm just thinking about the kids, right? They don't know all my songs. I'm not doing it, right? I told them I'm not doing it, but they were like, "Oh, you could just hang out with the kids, whatever, for the other time." And I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm a grown man. Like, I'm not hanging out doing arts and crafts with kids. Like, sorry. Like, that's just how I said. I'll bring my studio setup. I'll make a song. I'll have the kids give me all the ideas, and we'll shoot a music video. Like, what about that?" She's like, "Oh, you can do that." And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." So that's what I did, right? And then from there, when different communities would reach out to me, I'm like, "Well, hey, I did this, And then I started doing that. Then I realized some kids were extra pumped and they wanted to record, because what I did at first was, since it was the first time, I wanted to premeditate. I premeditated what the hook would be. I premeditated that I would make the beat boom, ba-doom, boom, boom, ba-doom, boom. So when I got there, I already premeditated the 2 main parts of the song, and the verses, it was going to be everybody comes up with ideas, and then I piece it together and I rap it out, and then I get the chorus, get everybody to sing the chorus. It worked smooth. So then the next time it was a bit more free flowing, because I'm like, oh, that's pretty easy. And then I realized some kids wanted to say more lines, so I was like, well, I could make a whole album, So I started making a full album, and then that's just how it went. And then what happened is just some of the songs, like With My Res Homies, is just too big of a song. That was the first ever time it was like make an album. The 5th song was With My Res Homies, and it's just the most hype song. I don't know if you ever heard it. Have you heard it?
Yeah, well,
it's just a classic. You know what I mean? It's like it's like an 11-year-old kid. Shout out to Cordell. Every time I was interviewed on CBC, I shouted out Cordell. He's the GOAT. You know what I mean? Like he made Res Homies, and he's just a smart kid, smart as a whip. But
and the impression that you're making, like I've written over 100 songs. I'm a musician myself. We're sitting in a studio that we're part owners in, and
see the guitars in the back. You see them back there.
It's a wonderful life. Music has brought me so much satisfaction. But what began it all was a band coming to my elementary school.
No way. That's
what started it. Just a band. I was just sitting there watching them. So you can imagine if this band would have taken us as kids and said, "Here, try this guitar," or "Hey, let's let's go and now record this." Like, how much more of an impression that would have made on me. It's totally changed my life. So you can just imagine what you are doing with these children and what that's going to do to their future. If one band coming to my elementary school has done that to me, you can just imagine what that's doing for them, right?
I didn't even think about that. I was thinking just more like I was saying, the positive thinking, because the premise of it is think positive. Come up with some positive ideas, write these positive ideas down, speak the positive ideas, then stand up and speak them confidently, and then turn into a video where now you press play and there's a video of you saying your positive messages loud and proud for everyone to hear. You know what I mean? Like for me, like it's about like that. Like that was the root of music for me, was like doing that. So that's what I'm trying to share with the mental health side, the confidence side, and obviously the message, because the kids, man, they're smart as whips. Like the new song that's going to be coming out soon, Every Child Matters. That song is like epic. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Like it was the grade 5, 6s, and the stuff they came up with was just spot on, powerful. I tear up every time I listen to Linnea's part. Every single time, it's ridiculous. Then the grade 7, 8s made mental health music. You know what I mean? Like talking about their different mental health. Some kids, it's more like fluffy and happy. Some kids are like talking about like little like
harder subjects.
Yeah, like one kid's talking about he punches walls, but it only causes pain, and then he remembers to take a deep breath and he feels better. Like he's coming up with that. Like that's a 12-year-old kid coming up with that on his own, but it's the process of, helping him say it out loud and helping him speak it loud and proud. And now it's going to be a video, coming soon,
Exactly.
So I'm just grateful that I've been able to do this, because it just randomly happened. Like I said, like it was just off of me not trying to be like I'm a grown man. I'm not doing arts and crafts. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'll just make a music video. You know what I mean? Because that's all I do. You know, like that's the only thing I know. Because I've made hundreds of songs. Like I tallied it up. I think I'm at about 110, 120 songs in the last like year and a half, just with kids.
Oh, great.
Just with kids. That's not even my own music. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
And think of, it's kind of a social project too. Like you're kind of taking what children are really, what's affecting them. Like, cause you're hearing their messages, right? Like it's like, someone could from university or whatever could be doing a study of you going around doing these songs. Like, what are the kids saying? Like, what are they bringing to the table? Because you're not telling them what to think.
No, they're coming up with it.
They're coming out, you know? So it's like a social project to some degree.
Exactly.
And could all be documented in the year 2024 of all the children across Canada or whatever. These were the things that were important to them. These are the songs which last forever. Right?
Holy, I never even thought of that because I do document everything. Like every time I do one of these programs, I do it behind the scenes. So I post the videos of people recording, of them shooting the video, of like conversations, you know, like the brainstorming sessions.
Yep.
So that's I never even... You're thinking. I honestly, you're getting deep, you know. I don't think about all this, you know what I mean? That's very, very impactful. Like there's one song called "What We Need in Our Community" that was sparked by Vida Baxter. Because part of the program is I interview all the artists involved. So in Martin Falls, which is a super small community up north, like it's about maybe 200-300 people just in the middle of the bush. You got to fly there. You can't drive there.
Wow.
When I was there, they didn't even have a store, you know. So when I was up there, the attendance at the school, there wasn't too many kids there, right? And the kids that were there were super shy. Therefore, an interview, it wasn't going to be the most epic interview. So I spoke to Vida Baxter, who's the Choose Life manager, and she suggested that I interview like community members too. Like we were talking, she gave me some ideas, like asking what do you think we need in the community, right? So I was like, perfect. So when I was interviewing the youth, they had some, like when you're kids, when you're a certain age, you don't have all the mental fortitude to come up with big drawn out answers, like say me. But when they came up with a few ideas and then we started talking about it, they wanted to make a song about it. So now when it's the song mode, what happens, especially with the younger ones, is I'll have conversations with them, and what they say, I'll write down the words as they say it. Like I'll talk back and forth, like, what about this? Oh, I don't know. What about this? Or like, not when I say what about this, I mean like I'm asking them questions. Like you're
drawing it out of them. You're trying to help them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then as they say it, I jot it down, and then you know how music, like every like 2 lines, you got to rhyme, or every 4 lines. So like the first line, second line, third line do not have to rhyme. Then the fourth line just either has to rhyme with the second or third line, you know what I mean?
Depending on which...
you know what I mean? But like, we're just talking about kids, so it's like, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be Eminem style, because it's little kids talking about something they believe in that's positive and passionate to them. Exactly. So it at the end of the day, you know what I mean? A little simple rhyme scheme is all it needs, you know what I mean? With some good bass, and you know what I mean? That's the trap format. It's just throw some bass and some simple rhymes, and it doesn't even matter because the message, right? So
I can see why you like trap so much.
I love trap music. I'll be honest, man. Like
especially for what you're doing.
It was really like before I listened to like old school hip hop, and when I started making music, I started like actually reaching out to like YouTube to find all the new music, because all the old school rappers weren't putting out no music. So I started finding some of these big time artists, and they make good songs, and they were just like doom 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 with a little drum beat on it, and it's got like 150 million views on you know what I mean? Like when I started seeing that, I was like, what? And then I started looking into trap music more, and I listened to it differently, because when I listen to music, some music's way too complicated for me to listen to and decipher every intricate part. So I don't like, it's not that I don't like that kind of music. I love that kind of music. But when I hear a song that's a good vibe, but I can dissect it just by listening to it very simply, but I just know this is a huge vibe. Now I'm going to go in my studio and I'm going to recreate that vibe to some degree. Obviously not like I don't even use samples or nothing, because I just recreate it myself in my own sort of vibe. So like even just like a simple, like a boom, boom, like if that's the beat, if the main part of the beat is the clap and the kick clap, the rest of all the horns and everything could be a song from the 80s. If I just take that kick clap, I can piece it together, and it just becomes a very powerful thing. But
another thing you could do too is just one child just goes, and then another one goes, you start putting that together, it starts becoming a very elaborate, complex rhythm. And it's just everybody's doing one simple thing. Like you said, if you take any hit song, it's usually just a simple piano thing.
Yeah.
Like Under Pressure from Queen.
Under
Let's
Pressure?
say ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding.
You know what I mean?
That's 2 notes, man. I'm just telling you.
You know what I mean? Like that's exactly what I mean.
That's
So like,
all it takes.
make it simple and then get the kids on there. You know,
Yeah.
sorry, I lost track of the question.
There was no question.
There was no
Karen.
question?
So that's the good thing about being on this show. There's not always a question. Now, a couple people chiming in here. Marianne wants to say good morning from Barry. Victoria, hello, Mr. World Peace. We need more people like you. Love your shows and energy. You could replace the mayor, apparently. Hands down. So that would be great.
No,
You should run for mayor.
mayors do a lot of work. I'll be honest. Shout out to the mayor.
He's just
That's a lot. That's a lot of work to run municipalities.
you can
and
make
to
all
deal
the
with
council
politics.
meetings, just turn them into songs. Denise says, good job, Kiyan. Keep it up. And running around the house, she hears you in the background. So that's good. And keep on with the hoodies and the great songs. Denise is just checking. That was great advice. People would have listened. He taught you how to make your own money and be your own entrepreneur. Good job, I think, talking about your maybe your father's influence kind of thing.
Shout out to my dad.
Yeah,
And
for
anybody tuning in, if you guys want to get any World Peace gear, my number is 249-878-5510. That's 249-878-5510. Shoot me a text.
Or what about just getting you on like social media, World Peace? Can they get you that way? Do you have your information on?
Yeah, but
your
it's
social
just
medias?
to order gear. You just text my number or call my number. You could DM me too, but I'll just say call me, or text me.
So 249
878-5510, or just search up World Peace. Same with my YouTube. My YouTube is going to be super bumping in the near future because there's 7 new music videos coming out. I just put out the behind the scenes, and the interview video is going to be coming out. So there's 8 more videos going to be dropping in the very near future.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for all that. And yeah, I'm just super grateful to be here right now with you, Mr. Walsh, and with everybody tuned in.
They're all so many. You're gonna have to go back and read all the comments. A lot of positivity coming back at you. So you get what you put out there, right? It looks like. So keep being positive. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep changing the world one individual at a time as you are sharing your positive message. And I know definitely we can have more of it. And this is one thing I wanted to point out. Like, you are very unique. There's nobody out there like you. I don't think. Well, you know that already.
Yeah,
but I'm
so
just
are
saying,
you. So is everybody.
Well, okay, we're all unique, but at the same time, let's say in the genre of rap, of all things, you know what I mean? How many rappers do you know that are out there with positive messages? Now, they might say they have a positive message here and there, but mainly it's about negative things.
I'll be honest. I just found recently. Have you Christian rap?
Okay, well, there you go.
Is taken off, man.
That would
Christian
be one
rap
genre.
is so good, man.
Well,
I'm telling you, man.
Okay.
In the last 2 weeks, when I'm editing my videos, I'm always watching the latest videos that come up. And I've been seeing these Christian rappers just killing it. Like, I'm talking, there's so many that I've never seen before in my life that are just like, they're more talented in skill wise than the other rappers, but their message is just holy and heavenly, So sorry, I had to interject that because
No, that's fine.
Because for
Shout
people
out.
out there that like rap music but want some positive music, I have obviously my music, but there's a lot of good positive Christian music that's out there that you could really rock out to,
Now, I just want to end with your mom. There's a proud mom on here, and it's the first time she's ever commented on the show. She said, "No, I don't comment." I ran into her the other day at Costco. She says, "I don't comment." So that's a lot for your mom. She says she's a proud mom. Love my mom. Son.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, and then we got.
I love you, Mom. I love you, Mom, and everybody tuning in. I just want to wrap this up by summarizing that. The simple things that I learned was live in the present moment, be aware of my thoughts, be aware of my emotions, step back, breathe, clear my mind and calm my emotions, lock into the present moment, into my happiness, joy, and inner peace, and go out in the world and spread joy and love. And with any goals or any dreams you have in this physical world, anything you want to do, you just got to work hard, learn, keep pushing, never give up, stay strong, stay positive, use love as the foundation, and you can make anything happen. Just make it happen.
I can't say anything more than that. We're just going to end with those words. Thanks, Kiyan, for being here today. Thanks, everyone, for commenting. Stay tuned for Earshot Daily, CKLU 96.7 FM. Ciao, everyone.
Shoo-doo-doo.
is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.